Yeah.
All right, start us off, Carter.
What?
Carter.
Yeah,
I don't
Carter.
even have my pants on.
The world
Why
of
do you need your
WrestleMania has the world of wrestling has always been about stories. Legends and titans, giants and hulks, home to a pantheon worthy of only the macho and the stone cold alike. But individual glory alone isn't what makes this story, but blood, the bond between families. And as we reach the 40th chapter of this epic, the story comes down to two families. One looking to rebuild their slightly rusting empire through blood and wrath, and another looking to fulfill destiny, to fulfill a promise. What will happen in this climactic final chapter? Who can say? But as we conclude this American dream in the city that dreamed up America, one thing is for certain. When the story of WrestleMania's 40th year is finished, the book will close with a thunderous, triumphant slam. Gentlemen, clear the ring the bell, and fight like hell.
Come on and slam, and welcome to
Yeah,
the gym.
you can see why I picked him, right? Like, that was art.
Yeah, I swear to
man,
God,
I
I
didn't
just
even
thought of
have
that
my
while I was
pants.
showering. And I was like, hold on, I'm going to grab my phone. And then I almost slipped and broke my neck. It was a whole thing. But
Carter
yes,
almost
we are
lost
pivoting to a
his title
basketball
match to the shower.
yeah, lost title
That's
match
dumb.
to granted counter. Oh God, the bit. You guys have seen the D&D movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
They resurrect
You
the
really
one
haven't,
movie.
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to spoil
It's
just
okay, you
one
can spoil
funny
it.
joke from a sequel.
Spoilers for the audience.
Yeah, they have to resurrect someone who was at this battle to get information, and they keep going to all these different dead bodies. And the one is like, "Oh, I didn't actually fight in the battle. I died before." And they show him getting out of the tub, and he just goes, "Whoop!" Smacks his head on the back, and just lying there. It's like, oh, all right. Well, thank you for your service.
That
But
movie
yes,
does a very good job at encapsulating D&D. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
not what we're talking about. We're talking about wrestling.
Hell yeah!
Wrestling.
Yeah, we've been.
I won something special for the pre-WrestleMania one.
Yeah, it was nice. It was very special. So WrestleMania is this upcoming weekend, and there is a lot of shit that happened since the last time we recorded.
How
I
much?
know. I've seen some of it.
Yeah.
How much shit has happened?
No, there's so much shit. No, but it is.
You know when Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura comes out of the rhino's butt? Kind of that level,
Yeah.
to be honest.
We have like
Whoa.
a full back to the 90s villain The Rock again, who beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes and like took his blood off of Cody's blood off of his face and wiped it on like The Rock's weight belt, mocking Cody for always having one when he comes to the ring. And telling Cody's mom at home, it's like, "Are you watching this? You watching what's happening to your son, Mama Rhodes?" And
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Brody looked real fucking hurt.
yeah, and that like he was legitimately gushing blood, and then they released a clip afterwards where it was like somebody was like it was like a behind the scenes style thing, and it was like, oh, like cut, we're clear, like ending the show. And then you just see The Rock go, "No, we don't clear. Like you don't tell The Rock when he's clear. The Rock tells you when he's clear." And then it's like on like The Rock's social media or something like that, and he just starts beating the shit out of Cody some more. And
Jesus.
oh, it's like it's clearly like rejuvenating his career as an actor. Of like he doesn't. I think I said this to Carter the other day, where it's like he doesn't have to be the Rock in like just the Rock in this situation. It is like truly the bad guy, the Rock, a la 1990s wrestling. With
Maui would
Yes.
never do this.
yeah,
We would never do this.
Well, they signed him on pretty late for the sequel, so maybe he would.
you say that, but Becky Lynch had to tell her daughter because The Rock's WrestleMania match also has Seth Rollins, and we'll talk about that and later. And Seth Rollins is married to Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch, she's just like, "I've had to explain to my daughter a lot of things, why mommy can't pick her up, or why mommy's face is bleeding, or why daddy is fighting Maui." But that's beside the point.
Oh yes. Yeah, coming from a film perspective, this is genuinely one of the best things that could have happened to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think one, it just kind of feels like it's revitalized his like enthusiasm a little bit. Like, his last couple projects, it did feel like it was kind of like, yes, it's another Rock thing. Woohoo! Like the opposite end of movie stardom, where it's like, yep, I gotta make another movie. Here's the movie. Whereas it's like you can tell he's all in on this. He is leaned in. I saw a great video of some girl who likes Cody Rhodes crying because she thought Cody Rhodes had died.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, see, this is, again, The Rock is back, baby. Like, between this and him announcing he signed a picture deal with A24, it feels like the pivot for him is going incredibly well.
Yeah. Have I watched Tom and Callum? I know I've watched some stuff with you. Have I shown you The Rock beating the shit out of
I'm
Cody
familiar
Rhodes?
with The Rock. Yeah, no, you did send
Okay.
it.
You did,
Alright,
yes.
cool.
I
Just wanted
watched
to
it.
make sure. Yeah, it's fucking intense. All right.
I did my homework.
So yeah, WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys are unprepared for the test.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing my notes.
I'm never unprepared for tests. Thank you.
I'm always unprepared for the test, and I make the test half the time.
Callum doesn't even study. Actually, he does. He
That's
uses
right.
He
Quizlet.
studies a lot, yeah.
I'm on it right now.
But so it's like the tagline of this WrestleMania is this is going to be the biggest WrestleMania ever. And honestly, they're kind of proving that point very well. Almost every single match makes sense. There is one that kind of doesn't make sense, but it does. Like, it's like, all right, you kind of just threw this one together to get talent on it. But that's beside the point. So I searched up what the alleged match order was because they talked about it on Monday Night Raw. And Saturday night is opening with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the women's world title.
Heck yeah.
Well, we know how you feel about Becky Lynch.
We know how I feel about both of them.
Now let me tell
I
you
love them
about
both.
Rhea Ripley, huh?
Yeah.
Meow.
Oh my
No.
god.
It is like
Why?
it is so.
Look at her.
You know
Yeah.
why.
Like,
Yeah, you
come
know
on.
why. It is
Yeah,
a
but I
match
don't like it.
of like this is the definition of if you're not first, you're last. Or if you're not last, you're first. You want to be first. And it's like these two are like the two like crowd favorite women where even though technically Rhea Ripley is the bad guy in this, she still gets huge amount of cheers. Becky Lynch is a crowd favorite. Everyone's going to be ecstatic about this match, I think.
I'm gonna be ecstatic.
Molly's going to be ecstatic. It's probably going to be they have the potential to make it a classic, which is awesome. Because they're both very talented, like on the microphones. They're both very talented in the ring. So if they get a good enough time slot, which they probably will, because it's now Triple H's WWE, where he actually gives like women on like pay-per-views like 20-minute matches, which is the same length as men, as opposed to Vince McMahon's, where there's legitimately WrestleManias where he cut women's matches the day of, like in the middle of WrestleMania happening, he's cut the match.
That's pretty
Crazy.
And it's not even March.
Yeah.
What?
It might have been held in March. Some
it's
WrestleManias are held in March.
Oh,
I mean,
March
now
8th.
because they're given
Yeah.
they're given it full time.
Yeah, they go.
Well-
they go, Vince, it's April, right? And he's like, cut the women.
Get the women out of here.
Right. But question. So you mentioned you looked up in advance what the order is going to be.
Yes.
Is there a subsect of fans who opt out of that, or is that impossible just because you would see like the order when you get there? Like, are people? Is it like a concert where you can be surprised what the order is if you have
No spoilers.
So, I mean, you can go into it spoiler free. There is like, they kind of usually like will say something about it, and some matches are almost always a given. Like,
Mhm.
like the main events are like of each night are typically pretty damn clear from like the second that they announce that the match is happening.
Mm.
Um, and it's always subject to change. They they'll announce like a tentative order, or there'll be a leak of one. But like I just said, there have been times where matches get cut 30 minutes before they're supposed to get on. Like it happens. Like there is a room for surprise. There's typically like some gag acts or something like that as we
Nah, because
watched.
I would be pissed. Like, because a lot of them have to put on. Like, imagine if you're like, I don't know, the one I think of immediately is like Gold Dust, and you put on all that makeup, and then you get out there, and it's like, nah, you're not going on. It's like, bro, like, what am I supposed to do? Go to Chili's? Like, I
Yeah.
can't.
No, it's oh yeah, no, like they'll never not be pissed about it, like because this is when the most eyes are on the WWE, and they obviously get unhappy with it and upset because it's like this is your time to shine. You could be a star, kid. They'll point up in
Could
the
be a
sky
star,
and go,
kid.
"That's Herc's boy." But
That's my son. And it's a guy getting suplexed into
yeah,
the stratosphere.
sure.
Ah!
But after Rhea Ripley,
Rocketing up like a Smash character.
yeah, after
Yes.
Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, we have the Intercontinental Champion match of Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, who 2 years ago at WrestleMania was fighting Johnny Knoxville in a Looney Tunes match, basically, and then was in a
Just
tag
bumping
team
elbows.
match last one, and everyone was loving it. And now he's facing Gunther, and they showed a montage of him training with Chad Gable, a legitimate Olympic caliber wrestler who's in the WWE and was a contender for Gunther's like for the title match for Gunther, and they were having this like Rocky-esque montage. So I'm thinking there's going to be some it being in Philly. There's going to be some sort of Rocky entrance. For instance,
But
Do you think one of them will wear like the red, white, and blue get up he does?
I hope so. Except
Oh,
Sami
that'd be
Zayn's
cool.
Canadian.
Damn it.
he should wear one that's just a Canadian flag and like spill maple syrup on everybody.
Yeah.
It'd be funny.
But he's facing Gunther, the one of the most dominant intercontinental champions of all time. The dude is like just walks around with his head higher than everyone else, and he doesn't really succumb to scumbag ways to win big matches.
Mm.
I have to vote for him.
Oh yeah,
He's tall and he has a funny name and he sounds just like me.
yeah.
Except the fact that I'm not an Olympic level wrestler.
Oh no, that's
That's
Chad
pretty
Gable.
much the
Chad
same.
Gable he's short and American, and he goes, "Thank you." Gunther is like Austrian, I believe, and it has short hair and doesn't wear glasses. So
Gunther.
if you want, if you want some discrepancies, nope, that's not how you spell Gunther. I'm trying to send a picture of him in the chat, but he has. This is another one where this is going to be like the quick, scrappy guy in Sami Zayn versus the stone pillar that is Gunther.
For the listening audience, I'm basically looking at a man who is shirtless with a giant red coat on.
Yes.
He looks like a Austrian like commander of a legion. Like he looked like he could stare at you and you would die.
Oh yeah, no.
Very, very pronounced brow. Could play a mean, like Frankenstein. I think he's got
He'd
like
be a
that
good Frankenstein.
stoic face.
He also turned his like entire body shape around. He used to be like big, like very rounded, and then he just kind of went on this absolute tear working out, and he is just yoked. The next match is allegedly the tag team titles ladder match. So there is the undisputed tag team titles, which is both the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles. And they're going to be held above the ring for the match where you have to get it down with a ladder. And something they said last night, they didn't confirm it, but it seems like they're alluding to it because they were united under the Usos when both of the Usos were a part of the Bloodline, and they made the Bloodline the most dominant thing in the world of COVID wrestling. And they said that the match continues going until both sets are claimed. So I'm thinking they're going to split them up, which I'm all for because they have a lot of tag team talent now. And like tag teams that they make sense, they work well together. They actually like it feels like old-fashioned tag teams again as opposed to like or like late 2000 like in 2010s where it was like the only like the next step above the women wrestlers for Vince McMahon was it's like all right, you're in a tag team so you're gonna still get crap, but and it's like we have nothing to do with you, we'll throw you in a tag team match, and it's just like it's like you can be partnered with this guy here, and it's just like points at the first guy he sees next. It's like yeah, that's good shit. It's like this. There was a lot of thrown together tag teams, but now it's like some very well established tag teams. And hopefully they split the titles because it's all legitimate talent. So you have the Judgment Day of Damian Priest and Finn Balor, Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, who still has a whenever he wants title match at any given point, versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, aka hashtag DIY. Unless if you are R-Truth, then it is Regeneration X. He's a little shaky on the details.
Oh man.
Speaking of R-Truth, he's also in that match with, and his partner is The Miz.
I know that guy.
As being a part of multiple tag teams in this match of the Judgment Day, Regeneration X, and This Awesome Truth. I'm not 100% sure who R-Truth is going to be fighting for. It's going to be a little confusing for everyone involved. We'll be lucky if he realizes it's a ladder match because he tends to mix up his match types.
God, I didn't think about the stupid Amelia Bedelia shit he can do with a ladder.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's first off, he's like in his 50s. Like this dude's just insanely talented. He's like 50 something years old. And he
looks
has
like
this
30 at most.
Oh yeah, he hasn't aged since like 1995. And there's going to be some slapstick comedy element with him, but he is so over. The fans love him. So anything he does is going to get the arena like cheering like a storm. And then we have the New Day, Calum's Boy Trombone, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston. A-Town Down Under, which is Austin Theory, local douchebag, and Grayson Waller, Australian douchebag. And it's and then it's was the New Catch Republic. I just had it and then I lost it. It's Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, two Triple H talent from their the developmental NXT scene for it. And these two are just hyper talented. So this match is going to be insane. Yeah, New Catch Republic. So there is a lot of solid talent in this one, and it is literally an anyone go win situation. I cannot make any guarantees.
Question.
Yes.
Do they weigh down the ladder? I should have asked this earlier. Do they weigh down the ladder, or is it a leaded ladder or something to make sure it's not constantly toppling over? I'm just antsy around any situation that involves a ladder.
It's just solid, well-made ladders, except for the one year where they had the Big Show in the match where he weighs 500 plus pounds, and they showed him trying to step on a regular ladder, and he broke the ladder.
Okay.
Broke the step, so they made a specialty giant ladder for him.
Poor guy.
Well, I do respect the novelty of that, first of all, but
yeah. And then this is also kind of interesting because it is a ladder match for tag teams. And rumor has it that Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, who were in WWE fame, then TNA fame, and then WWE, and then back in TNA, and then WWE and AEW fame. So like they've been around in and out,
Settlers of Catan.
yeah, in and out of WWE and around. But they are known for their massive ladder matches, their tables, ladders, and chairs matches, the level of extremeness that is terrifying and makes you fear for your own life despite it being somebody else. And their contract with AEW is just run up, and a tag team ladder match at WrestleMania is kind of like people are like, if they wanted to come back, this would be the time. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So that's kind of like, it's like, that would be like a fun surprise return situation. So that would be curious to see what happens. But in this match, it's not like, usually in big matches like this, they will have people that it's just like, oh, there's no chance it's going to be these guys. It's clearly only going to be these guys and no one else for like the massive matches with multiple people, because it feels like they throw in fodder every once in a while. But something that they did real well, none of these are fodder. These are all like legitimate contenders, which is great because it's like I try and avoid spoilers for like things like, oh, rumor has it that this person, like the leak said this person's gonna win. It's like, nah.
Oh God, there's
wanna...
leak culture.
There's a leak culture, but they've been doing a lot better with keeping it closed off, and it's interesting because Triple H has, like, under his booking, it's been noted by like people in interviews and stuff like that, like on-screen talent have said it in interviews where it's like the culture he has backstage is a lot more comforting for everyone, but it's also like they are like it's not, things aren't as big surprises. Sure, there might be things like, hey, sorry, the previous match went long. We're going to have to cut you down from like a 10-minute match to a 5-minute match because that was the easiest numbers for me to do off the top of my head. And like stuff like that. But there doesn't seem to be a culture of just cutting out matches, or like cutting out matches that is for like specifically like the women's matches or tag team matches. It's all like, everything seems to be a lot more thoroughly planned out, and all these storylines are pretty much like have been cooking for weeks at least. Where like,
I hope so. It's the 40th.
Yeah, pretty much with the exception of the Judgment Day because they're the champions, everyone of these teams has like competed against them at some point or another and lost to them. So it's like kind of like a big revenge situation. And then the next match is probably going to be secretly a banger one because it's not a title match. It is Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. That's right.
Yes.
Brother warfare.
Wasn't that guy in Star Wars?
Close. I think that is...
That's Jyn Erso.
Jyn Erso. I couldn't panic.
You're thinking of Chewbacca.
It was Chewbacca.
Don't fucking quote Rogue One.
Kevin just went into his random Star Wars character list. Is like, Jabba the Hutt will work. It starts with J.
Yeah. I couldn't think of her name and I panicked. But...
Yeah, I've been in on these guys since they had them open up the
Royal Rumble
match we watched. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so down for a Mewtwo Mew brother, my brother.
Yeah, it's
esque scenario.
It's two brothers.
Triple H turns to stone. They cry over him.
Yeah, that'll work. That's storytelling, baby. But two twin brothers. They have been a tag team for their entire careers, which has been about 15-year-long careers up until this last WrestleMania, pretty much, where they lost to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for their titles. And then it's like the family was betraying Jimmy because Jimmy, despite taking longer to open up to Sami Zayn being in the bloodline, which hilarious segments that was. He still had Sami's back because Sami had his back. So they had a tiff.
You keep saying in the bloodline, and I know it's like a group,
Yeah, it's a faction.
but in my mind, I'm like, oh damn, he married his sister. Like
No,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
so here's the thing: in the bloodline, the faction, they are all related. So it was well, with the exception of two. So the bloodline at its like the members over the years have been Roman Reigns has always been the tribal chief, and then his cousins that have been members are Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Dwayne the Rock Johnson. They are all legitimately family. And then their manager Paul Heyman, not legitimately family, but excellent talker on the mic, and Sami Zayn, who weaseled his way in at one point and snuck his way into their hearts and ultimately got betrayed them. But it's been a storyline happening since like 2020. They made this like the big thing when they were in the Thunderdome, so people were on screens in the background instead of fans in attendance. And it was
Bro
something.
thinks he can sneak by that Phineas and Ferb joke without us noticing.
What?
You said snuck our way right into our hearts.
Ah, I didn't even notice that.
Nice.
And that was just in the repertoire. So last year, after they lost at WrestleMania, it has been Jimmy Uso who's the one good guy remaining of the bloodline, has basically been excommunicated. He went to Raw, kind of did a little bit of his own thing, won the tag team titles with Cody Rhodes for like a quick month or so, and then his brother Jay has been. Oh no, Jey Uso was the one that went to Raw. They're twins, and I can't tell them apart because he's main event Jey Uso, and Jimmy's been poking at him, prodding at him, making him lose matches, and then the Royal Rumble started, and it was brother versus brother, and now it's going to lead up to WrestleMania where Jimmy versus Jay, and we'll probably get an appearance from their legitimate younger brother, Solo Sikoa. So that is going to be another absolute banger because they're both very talented individuals, and they've never had solo like matches at WrestleMania. The only one that one of them competed and not the other was in WrestleMania 36, which was the COVID year, and they had the tag team titles in a triple threat match where only one person from each tag team competed, and it was because somebody possibly had COVID, so they had to like limit the amount of people in the match, and they really phoned it in. It was kind of it was a little bit of a stinker of a concept and stuff, but they did what they could. All right, and then the next match this is the most like thrown together kind of match. So it is Damage Control, or some of Damage Control, consisting of Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Asuka versus Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, where it's just kind of like Damage Control, women's tag team champions, menaces of the women's division, and Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, where it's like they've had their differences with Damage Control, but none of them have like a legitimately like the best reason for them to be there is so they have a more star talent on WrestleMania. It's fortunately not a throwaway match enough to warrant like why did they put this here? It makes sense because it's got the star power, and it's like, all right, they're all talented enough that I'm not going to be mad watching it. And then we have the Latino World Order of Rey Mysterio and their newest member, Dragon Lee, versus former co-founder Santos Escobar, who's betrayed the Latino World Order, and Rey Mysterio, and he is teaming up with none other than Dirty Dominic Mysterio. That's right, Prison Dom's back, baby, facing his father in a tag team against his father in a tag team match. And the man who's loud enough that they can't even amplify his own microphone to overpower the boos. The guy who got booed at his own wedding is gonna be at WrestleMania.
God, I still so funny that, and he's not even like this isn't even his character arc. Like, he's not even the culmination match. He's just here still being a stinky villain.
Yeah, he's just kind of a scumbag. And it's interesting. It's like, it feels like they made this match happen just so they had like Dominic Mysterio in a match at WrestleMania, because he gets so much hate that it'd be a waste for him to not show up and be in a match.
Right.
But it also makes perfect sense, because he's been talking, like, since he abandoned his father, for lack of a better word, he's been talking trash and throwing shots at him every once in a while, just because. Like, he's getting in Seth Rollins' face, and it's just like, it's like, has someone with like an absentee father, aka Rey Mysterio, I know what your daughter feels like when you're out injured and stuff like that. Like, just throws in just random pot shots at Rey Mysterio for his like career and stuff. So it's fantastic. And Santos Escobar, being like a former founding member of Latino World Order, against Rey Mysterio, who's also a founder. Like, that makes sense. Dragon Lee, the new guy, who's also just heavily talented. And a whole like, oh, you also hate my father? I'm on your side for things, Dominic Mysterio. And then the main event of WrestleMania Saturday, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, for who gets to determine the stipulation for the championship match the following night.
Oh God, I keep forgetting that they have to do a match before the big match. Like,
yeah, so they're wrestling 2 big matches in a weekend, which is kind of a lot, but it is. So if the Bloodline, aka The Rock and Roman Reigns, win, the title match is going to be anything goes. Everything's fair game. Bloodline rules, quote unquote. And if Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes win, it is going to be just a 1v1, no outside interference allowed whatsoever. So that's kind of like a duality of the intensity of the match. And it also sets it up because, since it's not the title match, it doesn't matter as much on who wins. So it could go either way, and it could be a banger of a match. None of these guys are going to lose any momentum if they lose. If the Rock gets pinned, that's going to set up some heat between him and Roman Reigns. If Roman gets pinned, that's going to set up some heat between him and The Rock. If Seth Rollins gets pinned, it's kind of like a darn situation. The Bloodline gets their way. If Cody Rhodes gets pinned, it's the underdog is getting another reason to fight harder the following night. And
what if it's anything goes, and then The Rock tags in Logan Paul, and then Logan Paul wins? Then?
That'll never happen.
That'll be
I will stop it. I'll be there.
Kevin will tag in.
I am here to save the WWE.
Yeah.
Listen, Cody, get me in there.
Yeah, and
Kevin's gonna be like Chicken Joe saving Cody from.
Exactly. But this has been building up more and more since pretty much the night. it started like last year at the Royal Rumble 2023 when Cody Rhodes won and challenged Roman Reigns, and then lost, and then has had some issues with the bloodline, and then it kind of died down a little bit, but his focus never wavered, and then he won this year's Royal Rumble, and
He never
then
forgot.
oh yeah, and then it started picking up because The Rock all of a sudden showed up the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble and was like, I'm gonna be fighting Roman Reigns now, and the crowd hated that with a passion. And then things started possibly shifting behind the scenes, or possibly not, where they had a WrestleMania press conference and they were talking about the match and who Cody is going to face. Was he going to face Roman Reigns, or was he going to face Seth Rollins? And The Rock came out and was like, The Rock's going to face him, Roman, so have fun fighting against Seth or whatever. This, like, declaring it. And then Cody came out and he chose Roman, and then things started happening, and this storyline picked up from What Are They Doing to Oh My God, with the infamous slap at the press conference for The Rock slapping Cody, and it has not stopped since. You got backscene footage of The Rock cursing out Triple H, telling him to fix this. You have Seth Rollins calling out The Rock. It's like, just because you're a board member doesn't mean you can be pulling this shit. It has picked up. It started off with just basic slaps and talking shit, and now it's The Rock jumping Cody Rhodes and beating the shit out of him. The Rock releasing like a diss promo on his social media that's like 16 minutes long about Cody Rhodes, and then taking it down an hour later, only to re-upload the director's cut 22-minute version. Like, it's clearly all, like, it's obviously all just production and showmanship and stuff like that, but it catches you. It puts you right there, and you're just like, oh man, I want to see what's going on next. And then we have
Right? Like, I've seen like non-traditional wrestling social medias posting about this.
Oh yeah,
Like,
the whole finish
he
the
is
story
pulling people
bit
in.
has been Cody Rhodes' mantra the last year. It is like the WWE escaping just the realm of what it once was, with the exception of like John Cena. But for real, like, it's like they build up all the hype in the 80s and 90s of, it's like, oh yeah, these are all like household names and stuff. And then it became like the John Cena and Friends show, for lack of a better word, where Cena's going to win most of his big matches, everyone's going to love him. And then it kind of like, as Cena's movie star career started taking off a little bit more, it was like kind of like oh yeah, like things are happening in the WWE still, but whatever. And now it's just like, oh yeah, these are becoming a lot more common, like, memes now, and a lot bigger talent is getting recognized too. And that is it for WrestleMania Saturday. So WrestleMania Sunday, we'll get right into that. Allegedly opening match is Seth Rollins for his world title against Drew McIntyre. Another, like, strong building moment where Drew has been, like, going up to Cody, going up to Seth, and criticizing them for having Seth fight against the bloodline. It's like, no, I want him at his best. Like, true, I want to beat the best so I can be the best. He's going out.
Having his Goku moment.
He really is.
Mm-hmm.
He's going out. He's insulting CM Punk. He pulled the whole, like, I prayed this morning that this would happen, and CM Punk got injured at the Royal Rumble. He pulled an Aaron Rodgers, and has been running with that since. He has been calling himself, because he injured CM Punk, and he's been, like, trying to protect Seth from the bloodline. He's been calling himself the savior of WrestleMania. And he's also just been a huge meme lord on the internet. He's been like real shit posty on his Twitter, and it's hilarious. But this is another it can go either way match, as well as Damian Priest has made it clear he wouldn't mind having Seth's title, so maybe he gets into it with them, cashes in. Who knows?
There's no relation to a Reba McIntyre, is there?
No. One is country singer, the other is Reba McIntyre.
Nice.
I said it. I wanted to say it really quietly, so if I looked like a buffoon,
Nah, you're
it's
good.
enunciated.
You idiot.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Oh.
Something that also implies that because Drew McIntyre's contract technically runs up after, like, right after WrestleMania, but something that kind of hints that he's going to be sticking around for quite some time afterwards, and it was renewed, is they just announced today that their June pay-per-view is going to be Clash at the Castle again, which at the last one, Drew had a big match against Roman Reigns, and lost because Roman's cousin Solo cheated for him. And it is going to be held in Scotland. Good old Glasgow, Scotland, where Drew McIntyre's from. So probably going to have a...
How did he cheat for him?
So it was just... So he cheated because Solo Sikoa, who was not a part of the match, jumped Drew McIntyre, and, well, the ref was distracted with Roman and hit him a bunch. And
Gotcha.
because the ref doesn't see it, it means it never happened.
It's wild.
Yeah. It lets some scummy endings happen, and some of them are great and some of them feel forced. The next match on the card, a little upset with this position. It is Io Sky versus Bayley for Io Sky's title. Former leader of Damage Control Bayley versus current member of Damage Control Io Sky. Bayley won the Women's Royal Rumble, realized that Damage Control was talking shit on her behind her back, and said, "Joke's on you guys, I actually know Japanese and I know what you've been saying this entire time." And it has been feuding ever since. Definitely not getting the credit it deserves for like the amount of talent and build up to this match. So I feel like it should have been higher on the card, but I'm not too mad about it because they have a lot of talent to compete with. If it wasn't The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth and Cody for night one, this would have probably been that main event. The next match, kind of a grudge match, is LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Two people that they've been just feuding for a while. LA Knight looked like he was about to win the Elimination Chamber and have the right to challenge Seth Rollins for the title at WrestleMania. And AJ Styles jumped his ass and planted him on a couple of chairs and stuff, and they've been feuding hardcore ever since. Big moment that they had recently was LA Knight attacked AJ Styles outside of his home, and they both got arrested. So that was fun.
Damn. This shit's personal.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
no,
pretty
it's getting
crazy.
like real personal, and it's like they're doing like clear storytelling. Like they have done the getting jumped outside and arrested bit multiple times, but it still like gets stunning every time it happens. And AJ Styles is he's one of the best current wrestlers in the world of just pure talent. And LA Knight, very talented, but phenomenal on the microphone. He's like a huge crowd favorite. He was actually somebody that almost quit because of Vince McMahon. So Vince gave him a real crappy gimmick of he was in charge of a group called the Maximum Male Models, and his name was Max Dupree, and his sister Maxine Dupree, who still wrestles under that name. Like, they were in charge of the group, and he was like kind of down in the dumps, and then Triple H started taking over, and then he was able to be his LA Knight gimmick again, and the crowds absolutely loved it because it's like he's the guy that he gives off big 90s energy. He doesn't take crap. If someone's gonna talk bad about him, they got to prepare for this like sling of insults that he's gonna throw at them, and it's gonna be another really good one. If that match switched with the Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi match, and against the rest of Damage Control that isn't in the title match, I would be like, I would have fished my wish on getting able to pick which matches I get to watch, like live.
Mm-hmm.
The next match, U.S. title match, is champion Logan Paul versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens.
There it is.
Two people that'll absolutely probably beat the shit out of him. I'm not
I fully expect him to cheat.
Yeah, he might cheat a little bit, but Randy Orton,
Especially with Jake going up against Mike Tyson being a big thing.
Yeah, but he'll probably cheat. But who is it? KSI, Logan Paul's partner for Prime, was in the ring with Logan for like a segment, basically to get everyone booing them. And Randy Orton jumped KSI, hit him with the old RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens has been feuding with Logan Paul a little bit too for a while, and he's just like a hardcore brawler. Doesn't really give a shit on what type of match it is. He's going to just beat the shit out of people anyway. He's also his gimmick-esque thing has been like the lore keeper of wrestling. So like when he was tag team champions with Sami Zayn, he looks like a normal guy, he acts like a normal guy, and then it's like they're getting interrupted by another tag team, and he just immediately starts going off. He's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And it's just like, "You're talking about the tag team titles, and we want a piece of it." He's like, "No, that's not how this works. We call you out. We mention your name, then your entrance music hits. Not the other way around. You have to wait." And then he's like yelling, like being picked up with the mic. It's like, nobody gets it. Nobody fucking gets it anymore. That's not how this works. It's just like getting mad about like some like clear like wrestling lore and people breaking it like that and getting frustrated, and he's been having a great time. And like he wrestled against Stone Cold Steve Austin in Steve Austin's retirement match 2 years ago, because he's such a good wrestler, and he's so safe that he doesn't need to be in the biggest title matches or anything like that to be a star. You just put him anywhere and he's going to make magic out of anything he makes, just like Sami Zayn, just like Gunther. So that's kind of hype. And then the most recent addition is to the WrestleMania card is Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus Karrion Kross and the APA, Akam and Razor.
Okay.
And it is like these guys have been brooding on SmackDown. Like they've been like I guess kind of like a middle tier, like interrupting each other's matches, beating the shit out of each other for a bunch of weeks now. So it feels like we're gonna get the culmination of everything of this feud. One of them's gonna prove to be the dominant faction, and then they'll both move on to other people. And like they're interrupting each other's matches to like qualify for the tag team title match and all that stuff. So it's been having a fun storytelling aspect. Like Bobby Lashley eliminated Karrion Kross in the Royal Rumble, and then Karrion Kross broke the rules, quote unquote, but still eliminated Bobby Lashley and jumped him too. So it's been happening for a couple months. There's solid build up. It's not the most hype rivalry of the weekend or for this weekend, but it's not crap. They're not just going like, all right, let's just throw these guys in for shits and giggles.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Who was that guy that you told us about? And we actually watched videos of him after recording last time I was on this. The guy who's constantly says he's on the team even though he's not.
Oh, R-Truth.
Is he going to be in it?
Yeah, he's R-Truth. He's in the tag team ladder match with he's partners with the Miz, and
Good.
he's the one that I was like,
I have been quietly
I wonder
brainstorming
who
in my
he
head
is.
what silly things he's gonna do. Like, does he get a jetpack?
I'm rooting for him. He's
Does he
funny.
try to rappel
he's
down?
fantastic.
Does he bring a small step, like a staircase thing that you get? You know,
I
one of
hope
those
he
ones
brings
you give your
powdered
Dorito
donuts
dog?
like he did last time
yeah.
that we saw.
No, he's been having fun, a lot of fun off the scenes. He went to NXT where Shawn Michaels is in charge, like legitimately in charge of it, which is great for the younger talent. Like Shawn Michaels was like a generational talent, like top of the top a bunch of years, and then it was just like, and then it's like R-Truth knocks on his door, and he's just, because he's been mistaking Johnny Gargano for him, he just goes, oh, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, how's it going? To Shawn Michaels is like, you should meet up with Shawn Michaels at some point, and talking about how great of a career he's had to Shawn Michaels' face. And it's all like on the social media. Like, he wasn't on the match list for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which was in Australia. So he posted a video of him in Austria. Just like, he's like, I'm looking at the hotel, they don't know where anyone is. Nobody's at the venue. He's living his best life, and it's hilarious.
I'm lost.
I'm lost and I'm scared. But
I thought this place spoke English.
yeah, the final the final match of WrestleMania weekend is, and there's no way it'll not be the final match of WrestleMania weekend, is Cody versus Roman Reigns for the title once again. Round 2, a little over a year after the previous WrestleMania. And will Cody Rhodes be able to finish his story? So,
Can you refresh me what happened? Obviously, Cody didn't win, but how
Yes.
close of a match was it?
it
Did
was
it feel
very
like he had
close.
a shot?
It was one of those matches where after Roman Reigns won, there was a paused stun over the crowd before they started booing. It's one of those. And the online reaction, I still remember a bunch of them, was pissed. Because, well, first off, the first night of WrestleMania last year was phenomenal. It was executed wonderfully. And apparently a lot of it was Triple H. And then Vince McMahon shifted things around on Sunday. So people thought, oh, he made Roman win. And it's like WrestleMania Sunday kind of got screwed over with like a couple of issues. Like, they still had some banger matches. I believe Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Gunther was still a match, and that was art. That's what that was. But people were like, Cody lost because Vince didn't want him to win, blah, blah, blah. And then Triple H kind of said, he's like, no, it was me that planned this. And everyone was like real pissed about it, because it was like, this seemed like the perfect time for Cody to beat Roman and Roman to lose the titles finally. But now it's like, it's had over a year's worth of storytelling to make it happen. And Cody isn't like your classic good guy. Like, he's pulled some scumbag tactics too. It seems like the way everyone's describing it is last year's WrestleMania for this match was Avengers Infinity War, and then this one is whatever the sequel was,
Endgame.
Endgame. This one's
Whatever the sequel
I couldn't
was.
think of it. I got the
They
I had
Avengers, the last one.
I had Judgment Day stuck in my head, so I was gonna say Avengers Judgment Day.
To be fair, that wasn't the original. The original title was Infinity War Part 2, but
Yeah.
then all of those young adult novels did a Part 2 and they weren't popular. And then there was a rumor, that I have pretty sourced, that they were going to call it the Infinity Gauntlet, and it was going to be a play on the word gauntlet being both the glove but also a journey. And then they're
Yeah.
like, it's too confusing. Just do Endgame. People like that line.
Yeah,
If people are gonna be like, the
But now
goal
all
was the
those
last
people-
one.
yeah, I would have.
Yeah, and now everyone's like, they shouldn't have made any more movies after Endgame. It's called Endgame, and I'm like, yeah, well, they just got the rights tax, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, X-Men '97 is fantastic, but
People want to see the Blob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the guy they canned the director from that, and he must have been a real asshole on set because this thing is really good.
yeah,
Or not set, in the production offices. It's animated.
yeah, but yeah, people are like, this is what's gonna happen. Someone's gonna try and get out. Like, Jimmy's gonna try and help out Roman. Jay's gonna intercept. The Rock's gonna try and help out Roman. Seth Rollins is gonna intercept. Like, this is what's gonna happen. Like, Solo Sikoa tries to help Roman, and Drew McIntyre, who lost his title match because of Solo Sikoa, is going to interfere and jump him. So it's going to be fun to see how this plays out, and I can't decide which I'd rather see more of: the Bloodline rules anything goes, or just a solid 1v1 match, because they did the solid 1v1 last year and it was good. But what will happen if it's no holds barred? They can just do whatever the hell they want.
Fight with rubber chickens.
Now, that was more of the Johnny Knoxville match.
It would be very funny after all of this drama. It just some kind of comedic match,
Oh,
just
my
like
God.
a dun 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 dun.
That would be hilarious, but I would be super pissed off. Like, I'm all for a good comedy match. I love Santino Marella. I love R-Truth. I love Sami Zayn. But goddamn, if that happens on this match, it's gonna get so much hate. But yeah, this is like the first. I mean, this is Triple H's first true WrestleMania weekend. So, and everything seems to make a lot of sense. And there isn't a clear victor for any of these matches. So that is awesome. And even though people online are going to be like, oh, it's going to happen like this because maybe Gunther's going to be facing against Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam or Clash of the Castle. It's like, shut up. You're speculating out way too far in advance.
Yeah, you tell him.
And it's like, yeah, they do plan that far in advance a lot, especially now. But yeah, they can change it. Everyone thought Cody Rhodes was going to win last year, and he clearly didn't. So,
See, I would love to get a sense of how much they change it going into how many changes they make, because I've always loved that quote from Jay. Who the hell's the guy who made Game of Thrones? George R. R. Martin. He was like, when you're writing a story and you start at the beginning thinking the Butler did it, and you start writing it out, and then a bunch of your fans pick up and are like, oh, obviously the Butler did it. You get yourself into a situation. Do you keep going as the Butler did it and risk people already knowing what happens? Or do you change it and all that stuff that was leading up to the Butler doing it doesn't really make sense? This is kind of how he talks. I'm surprised I'm this close to how he actually talks. I know this isn't quite right, but I'm almost there.
yeah. No, so a lot of the pay-per-view stuff has always been is typically planned out pretty well in advance now. all these pretty much have long term, at least a minimum of a month's worth of storytelling, if not more. So, which couldn't always be said in the world of the WWE. But there have been times where, like on the TV shows, Vince is backstage rewriting the ending to that show while it's like halfway through, and it's like a 3 hour show, and he's like an hour and a half way through, he is rewriting the ending. That guy would, like, his last like couple of years definitely made him seem like a crazy person with how much he would like rewrite things and not take any like outside opinions for it and stuff. And everyone's like talking about how much happier they are backstage, and even like on the sets too, with Triple H being in charge. Like, one of the announcers, Corey Graves, was like without directly talking shit, like, because they have earpieces in their ears, to tell that, like, to help give them like, all right, mention this, don't forget this ad plug and stuff like that. And but that's under Triple H, who lets them do their thing, because they're like, a lot of them are either former wrestlers or have legitimate journalist backgrounds. And Vince would just spend the entire thing telling them exactly what to say, when to say it, and if you cannot screw it up. And Corey Graves is like, it's a lot quieter in the earpiece now, without directly taking a shot at Vince, but still taking a shot. And you can tell too, where it's like Michael Cole, who's been in the WWE since the 90s, long-term commentator. He clearly is having so much fun, and he's partnered with Pat McAfee. And like, a lot of people give Pat McAfee shit for being an announcer, because he seems like he's not super informative, but he's just the commentator. He's just there to make it fun, and he is having a blast. His commentary is hilarious, because sometimes it's just like stating obvious facts that you see, but then he had like fangirls super hard for all the like for the wrestlers he likes. He gets into like a couple of messes every once in a while. Like, he was dancing to Jey Uso's music when Jey Uso came out to fight Gunther for the Intercontinental title. And then Gunther looked at Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee just slowly lowered his hand and just kind of like put himself back in the chair, because he tends to jump on the announcing desk a lot. But yeah. And some other rumors that might happen for this WrestleMania is outside of the Hardy Boys possibly showing up is Cody Rhodes' legitimate brother Goldust, as Tom mentioned earlier.
Let's go.
Cody Rhodes and Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes, legitimate brothers. Even though he works for AEW at like a managerial role, he might, or like a producing role. It's like, people are like, oh, it'd be awesome if he showed up, like, and it's not like completely like out of a concept yet. Like, if Vince was like, after WWE took over a bunch of smaller companies and then took over WCW / ECW in the early 2000s, WWE has been like a pretty pure, if you're not a WWE entity, we're not working with you in the slightest. We're not doing things in the slightest. But the more roles and momentum that Triple H has gotten as his behind-the-scenes role, they're mentioning other companies. They're bringing in guest superstars from other companies for the Royal Rumble and stuff. So that's kind of, people are like, you know what, this is kind of hopeful. And it's not like Goldust is like, oh, he's not their champion, he's not their main eventer, he's he's more behind the scenes, so things might be possible. And then so there's that, and then apparently I saw this announced today. The WWE reached out to Jason Kelsey, former Eagles center, about possibly doing something at WrestleMania.
Oh, well, they had
I
to.
oh yeah, they had to. An Eagles legend, and I'm super ecstatic to see if that happens.
Oh, what if they do, like, him and Fletcher Cox are a tag team for something?
See, like they've had like professional football players help out in matches before too. They have so it used to be like in the pre-show, but when they started cutting down time, when they made thing WrestleMania 2 nights, they had an Andre the Giant over the top rope battle royale, where it's just like anybody who's left in the locker room at least gets some form of possible moment. And Rob Gronkowski has interrupted that and helped out in that. What was it, WrestleMania last year in Hollywood? Pat McAfee was fighting against the Miz in like just kind of a P match segment, and George Kittle jumped the barricade and helped him out. So it's not unheard of having some sort of guest stint, and I'm so ecstatic that they reached out to Jason Kelsey too, because it's in Lincoln Financial Field. That guy's gonna get more cheers than it's gonna be like the complete opposite end of the spectrum from Dominic Mysterio, where you couldn't hear Dominic Mysterio because everyone's booing him so loudly. You're not gonna be able to hear Jason Kelsey because everyone's gonna be chanting his name so loudly.
Also, Carter's intrusive thought of the day. When you said pee match, I didn't think a match that you get up to pee during. I was thinking they surround the entire ring with like a pee moat, and if you fall in, well, not only are you covered in pee, you also lose.
Yeah. Well, they've done
I
kind
thought it
of.
was
Oh
a
well.
I thought it was a PP measuring contest.
Well, there's that too, but that happens behind the scenes. Um, but they they have done a concept similar to that P moat match, except they called it an Inferno match and it was flames. And if you got knocked over the top rope, you caught on fire.
Go to the doctor if you get flames
Yeah,
when you pee.
yeah, that's a big problem. That's not a doctor. That's the ER directly. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you have any questions for me before we round off this session?
What is one thing you hope to see? Not necessarily match wise, but just something that could happen that you're hoping to see as you go to. Well, in general, also, how are you feeling? Like, how hyped are you?
I'm so ecstatic. I took off the day before because I knew I was going to be nothing but a menace at work. I literally scheduled myself to work on Easter Sunday instead of going to see my family so I can have off the day before WrestleMania. I go to WrestleMania so I can just hyper focus and watch a shit ton of wrestling content and drop the dog off at doggy daycare. But that's beside the point. And then yeah, but something I want to see. Honestly, the thing I've said the most is I don't care who. I want to see a Philadelphia Eagle. Like, I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to ask them for a signature or anything like that. I want to just like look across the room and be like point out and just be like, "Oh shit, wife, look!" And she's just like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's Reed Blankenship," or something like that,
Oh, that would be cool.
or Jake Elliott. I love my field goals, win games guy. But
I have a
That
question.
would-
yeah, yes, question from the blonde guy.
Yes, that's me. And this is open to the class, actually. Say you're there at WrestleMania
hmm
and you can ask anyone there, who would you ask to be on an episode of Caspod?
Ooh, that is a tough one. Um,
I mean, I'll be lazy and say Rock just for the engagement.
Yeah, The Rock for the engagement would be
It's a good choice. I mean, yeah.
Another super popular one, Becky Lynch, currently on her book tour right now. Because she just released her own book, so I might relearn how to read for it.
Girl boss.
But
Asuka,
Asuka, that's a great one.
because she likes anime.
She likes anime.
And
Well,
again,
that doesn't narrow it down, Tom. A lot of wrestlers like anime
but she
nowadays.
cosplays as anime characters.
So does Zelina Vega. I sent Callum this. Zelina Vega,
Yeah.
who's a member of LWO, so probably at least her face will be featured. She won the Queen of the Ring tournament a couple years ago. And she had her good friend voice, like, the Queen is now here. And that is the voice actor for Madara Uchiha.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah. The weeb level of the WWE is through the roof. One of the biggest weebs, actually, the Giant Omos, a 7-foot tall plus Nigerian man, loves anime, loves Dragon Ball and all that stuff.
I love that for him.
I would say the two best that like aren't like just clearly just draw answers, or I guess three best is R-Truth, because he's hilarious.
That was gonna be mine.
I'd like Sami Zayn, because that guy has had a crazy career over the years, and he spent the first like 10 years of his career wearing a mask and not talking. And so it's like he has had two polar opposite ends of, he's done that, and his career in the WWE has been like him like being a lot of a chatterbox. So those two would be fun. Rhea Ripley would be insane. She's had like a worldwide career, Australian wrestling, WWE, like worked her way up from like kind of a no name into the WWE to everybody. Like, she's one of those people that she can jump Becky Lynch and not get booed. She, like, backstage, everybody loves her and can't talk nothing but good things about her. So those three, honorable mention, LA Knight, because he's fantastic at talking. Kevin Owens is another one. And then, you know, Pat McAfee. Put me on the Pat McAfee show.
I want to add somebody. I think Logan Paul, just because I think we could get him to say some stuff that gets him canceled, and that'd be pretty funny.
That would be pretty funny,
I would
honestly.
protest that episode.
Just
Carter, we need you if we're going to
That'd
get him
be
to
so
say
silly.
cancelable stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. I'd have to be. Oh
We
God,
need
I
you
saw
to
a great
awaken
clip the other day.
your Genki Dama of hot takes to get him
I know some
to.
of those words. No,
your
incidentally,
funny words.
in this brief section of Carter Explains Basketball, there was a controversy in the early 2010s.
I'm sorry, there was a
Chris
what?
Paul was supposed to controversy.
Oh, I thought you
so
were.
Chris Paul.
I thought he was
he made up a word.
mispronouncing. I thought he was mispronouncing catastrophe, and I was like, "Oh."
there was a catastrophe.
But anyway, so Chris Paul, who was the point guard for the Charlotte Hornets, asked for a trade, and the Lakers were like, "All right, here you go," and everyone's like, "Oh, here we go, another super team. Kobe's gonna get another ring," and because the Hornets were partially owned by the league because they could not find a full-time owner post Katrina, they vetoed it, and everyone freaked out. It was like very poorly handled. It made them look really bad. They end up trading him to the Clippers, and then conveniently, they end up getting the first pick in the following draft to draft Anthony Davis. And Jim Rome just straight up just goes, "Hey, so David Stern, Mr. Commissioner, so is this rigged? Did you rig the draft?" And I'm like, that's the energy I need to bring. Like OG Jim Rome, just real asshole energy if we're going to do that. God, that was a core sports memory for me because I was just like, what? They could just do that? They could just say, no, you're not allowed to trade this guy.
Apparently, yes.
For me,
Yeah.
I would want the truth on the podcast,
Yeah.
or if I had to, I would choose Florence Pugh just as Soraya from Fighting with My Family.
Or get Soraya and Florence Pugh just as like a
No,
hey,
that
how
would
do
be
you
crazy.
That would be insane.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Is it about Callum's
This-
love of Florence Pugh?
No.
Please. Allow
That's
me
like
to
a
allow
completely
We're
you.
gonna need a whole
podcast.
cast pod episode for that.
Yeah.
It's for the audience. You've made it this far into the video and haven't liked it yet and subscribed. Why not?
All right, Miss America.
Did you know when you tell people to subscribe on YouTube, the little subscribe button has a little rainbow around it?
It's true.
Oh, you mean when you say subscribe?
Yeah, subscribe down below.
What, do you not like rainbows? Why? Say it.
No,
In
no,
June?
I just didn't know that. That when
June?
you say subscribe,
In June?
that
It's not June, but
subscribe
in
button.
June when you watch this?
Mm-hmm.
What? There's 2 whole calendar months.
That's not the
I'll tell
bit.
them that.
That's not the
We
bit.
have 2 weddings and a funeral to go to.
We're gonna have a theatrical release of this
funeral?
episode in June.
It's my funeral.
Don't worry about it.
Kevin's gonna get blackout wasted at WrestleMania. He's not gonna come home. He's gonna get in the ring with Vince
Honestly-
McMahon.
If I, you should.
The Rock elbow dropped him, and his arms and legs popped
I get
off
to
like
say-
a Lego character.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I'll
really
probably be able
funny.
to die happy after WrestleMania. Like you could put me
Yeah,
down.
but then I'm gonna need to find a new officiant for my wedding, so don't do that.
Have Carter do it.
I
I
can
would like to
see that.
reiterate my last statement.
What? I'll be fine. I'm a fine guy.
Carter, I cannot have you talking about Bluey and China during my wedding, please.
I can
What?
talk about the
I
lady
can
wrestler
be
China
I'm
and the
capable
lady
of
wrestler Sky
professionalism.
Blue.
I just opt out of it most times.
It's true. All right. Who wants to send us home?
Let Callum do it. He had blue balls
Yeah, I was
earlier
gonna
when
say,
you let him
all
intro
right.
it.
All right,
That's right.
Cal.
I
I
even
did
put
my
my
epic
pants
speech
on
already.
for it.
Oh my god, thank God.
All right, Callum, send us home.
All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Make sure to check us out on platforms other than YouTube as well, because we have those now.
We do have those. Now.
Kevin's going to get lit at WrestleMania. If you're going to be at WrestleMania, make sure to wear your Castpod t-shirt to let us know so we can see it on live pay-per-view television.
Yeah, I think,
Go
you guys,
find
I think
Kevin.
you guys all have my access to my Peacock, so you're free to do with it what you please.
There you go. We're going to be looking for Kevin. So if you see Kevin, leave a comment down in the comment section. And also, if we hit 50 subscribers, we will have a live Castpod wrestling show. We're all going to wrestle each other.
I'm down.
Huh.
I'm absolutely down.
Cool.
Can I fight Carter in
Hold us
a
to it.
table
How many
match?
subscribers are we at now?
Yes.
We're
Wouldn't
at
you like to know,
20.
Weather Boy? Cut
No,
it before you
wait,
can
please.
figure it out. Go.